Hey, hello, and welcome back. I am Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and this is another episode of the Getting to Clarity show. This is a place where you come if you would like the tips, tools, and techniques to create more of an impact in your leadership, your career, your business, but with less of a sacrifice to what's important to you, to your life. And today we are talking about the everyday magic of clarity. So specifically, how small shifts create big results. So stay tuned. What if the breakthrough that you have been waiting for isn't some big dramatic moment? What if it's a quiet shift, a deep breath, a better question, a different way of seeing something that you've been looking at for weeks? So, for someone like an emerging leader, or maybe a woman in leadership rising into new roles, or anyone really who is feeling pulled in a dozen different directions, clarity doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't require a full life overhaul or a 5-year plan with every single detail mapped out. Sometimes the most powerful momentum comes from the smallest, most intentional move. That is what I call contagious clarity. And when it starts, it spreads. So why does this even matter? Well, you probably have a lot coming at you. You have people to lead, you have projects to finish, you have goals to hit. And then when everything competes for your attention at once, a lot of times your focus gets drowned out by the noise, by the overwhelm. But here's the thing, you don't need more time. I'm sure you think you do. You need better tools. Real, sustainable momentum doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things for the right reasons, starting with very small shifts that bring you and your focus back into center. It protects your energy. It gives you direction, and it gets you into intentional action. That is what clarity is. That is where these micro moves that I'm going to describe come in. So let's talk about micro moves for momentum, small shifts, real clarity, lasting impact. So each of these micro moves is designed to activate one of what I call the 4 forces for clarity. Okay, so whether you need to reset your direction, you need to clear your focus, you need to protect your energy, or you need to get into action and take the next step, these are the tools that will keep you in motion without adding to your to-do list. So here's the first thing I want you to consider. Pause and prioritize. So when your mind is racing and your schedule is just overflowing, stop. Just for 30 seconds, one breath. And then ask yourself, what is the one thing that matters most right now? That simple pause creates space to lead from intention instead of from urgency. It cuts through the noise and it brings you back to center. Second thing I'd like you to consider, get into action with feedback. So here's a mindset shift that changes everything. There is no failure. That's right. There is no failure, only feedback. Not every meeting is going to go right. Not every conversation is going to land. Not every decision is going to go as planned. But when you choose to see each and every result as data, not defeat, you stay in motion. So ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me? What could I do differently next time? Feedback keeps you learning and adapting and leading without perfectionism, which gets in your way. Third thing I'd like you to consider, anchor with one word. Choose a word, any word, but a word that grounds you. Something like focus, courage, connection, or maybe clarity, my favorite word. Write it on a sticky note. Set it as the wallpaper on your phone. And, see it someplace where you're going to see it, because that word will remind you that being centered matters, because it helps you to lead from purpose, from intention, not from pressure. Your word becomes your compass when the day tries to pull you off course. It reminds you of who you are and how you want to show up. Okay? So, what might this look like in real life? Maybe you found yourself in one of these moments. You're walking into a huge meeting. It matters a great deal to you. The agenda is very packed. You're already feeling behind. But instead of rushing in and feeling behind and reactive, take a breath. What is one question that you can ask yourself? And that might be something like, what is the outcome that really matters most here? And then from that moment on, you lead differently because it's with intention. Maybe it's a conversation and it didn't land the way that you hoped. You started to second guess yourself, but instead of, spiraling, you ask yourself, okay, what is the feedback here? You take one insight, you make a note for the next time, right? And you move forward. And with more information, maybe you feel a little lighter, a little clearer, but you're still in motion. The feedback is data. Maybe it's a week where it's midweek and your to-do list feels like it is doubling by the hour. I know that I have days like that. And you glance at your anchor word, clarity in my case, and it's on your phone screen and it reminds you that being intentional is more important than being busy. And just like that, you are in a different space. You lead with presence again. So clarity doesn't have to be dramatic to be effective. It just has to be yours and on purpose. So what is your next clear move? So glad you asked. Within the next 48 hours, I want you to pick a micro move. Just try one. Pause and prioritize. Ask for feedback. Choose your anchor word and use it intentionally. Capture the moment when it happened and how you felt. What changed? Share it. Tell a friend or a colleague. Clarity spreads when it's shared. And sometimes your spark gives someone else permission to find theirs. You don't need a massive breakthrough to lead with clarity. You just need one moment that brings you back to what matters. And if you've been running on autopilot or feeling disconnected from your purpose or why you do what you do, know this: clarity is still within reach. It shows up in small shifts, simple questions, one conscious breath at a time. And if you're ready for more of those moments, I'm here. I have been where you are. I know how powerful it is to finally feel like yourself again, focused, steady, and clear. And if you want more contagious clarity in your leadership or maybe your life, visit my website at www.debbiepetersonspeaks.com. You can explore keynotes, tools, coaching that helps to cut through the noise and take your next clear move with confidence and purpose. So until the next time, here is wishing you all the clarity that you deserve. Be good to yourself. Take care, and bye-bye for now.